You ever wonder why you have your mother's eyes or your grandfather's laugh? Well, in this explainer, we're going to unlock the secrets of your family's blueprint. And we're drawing on some really brilliant insights from a science lesson that was taught to students in Nigeria to help us understand these invisible gifts that get passed down through the generations.
I mean, we've all heard it, right? Someone comes up and says, "Ah, you have your father's nose." Or, "That laugh, that's pure grandma." And yeah, it's a really sweet thing to say, but what's the actual science behind all that? How do these little bits and pieces of our relatives actually show up in us?
Okay, so it all starts with what science calls traits. But I love this other way of thinking about them as invisible gifts passed down from one generation to the very next.
And yeah, these invisible gifts, that's what we're talking about when we say family traits. They're all the features you inherit from your parents, your grandparents. The source material we're looking at frames it that way, and I just love it. It really captures this beautiful idea of a biological inheritance, doesn't it? And these traits, man, they cover such a huge range. Of course, you've got the really obvious ones, right? Like skin color, how tall you are, your eye color. But they also include much more subtle things, like the specific tone of your voice, or even genetic conditions, like albinism. But okay, here's where it gets really, really interesting. Just because you get one of these invisible gifts doesn't mean it's actually going to show up for the world to see. It all comes down to this fascinating little competition between what this lesson calls strong genes and shy genes. That's right, not every trait you inherit actually shows up. It's kind of like your DNA is a movie script with a role for every actor. But hey, not every actor gets to go on stage, right? It's all about which genes, the strong ones or the shy ones, get the spotlight. So here's how it breaks down. The dominant traits, those are the strong ones. For these to show up, you only need to get the gene from one parent. So think dark eyes or curly hair. On the other hand, you've got the recessive traits, the shy ones. Now, these guys only make an appearance if you get the same gene from both of your parents. They need a little more encouragement to come out. Okay, so this brings up a fantastic little puzzle that really illustrates the whole concept. If curly hair is the strong, dominant trait, how on earth can two curly-haired parents have a child with straight hair? I mean, that sounds completely impossible, right? And here is the big reveal. It's because the shy gene was passed down by both parents. It means both of them were secretly carrying that recessive gene for straight hair all along. And since they both passed it down to their child, boom, the shy gene finally got its moment in the spotlight. How cool is that? All right, so that's a pretty fun science puzzle for sure. But why does any of this actually matter? I mean, beyond just being cool trivia. Well, it turns out that understanding your family's blueprint can have a huge, huge impact on your actual life. Yeah, this is so much more than just a science lesson. This kind of knowledge can seriously impact your health, it can help shape your identity, and it can really deepen your connection to your family. I mean, this is about as personal as science can possibly get. And probably most importantly, it helps you understand hereditary diseases and potential health risks. Knowing if conditions like sickle cell anemia or maybe diabetes run in your family, that's critical information to have. It tells you about your own potential health risks, and that knowledge empowers you to be proactive about your own well-being. And then, there's the whole emotional side of things. This science is what explains that strange, kind of wonderful feeling you get when you look in the mirror and you see your uncle smile looking back at you, or when you hear your mother's laugh, but it's coming out of your own mouth. It's a living, breathing connection to your family history. And listen, it's not just about how you look. What about your talents? Is your family just full of amazing musicians or artists or people who are wizards at math? Well, your genes can actually offer clues about where some of those unique skills might come from, too. So when you think about it, all of these things, the physical traits, the health markers, even the talents, they're all the building blocks of your family's story. They're the very first clues you can use to start piecing together your own personal history. So, now that you've got the scientific tools, how do you actually become a detective in your own family's history? Let's get practical. Okay, so the official term for this whole thing is genealogy. And I know that word can sound kind of complicated, but it's really not. It's just the simple and honestly super fascinating process of becoming a detective and exploring your own family's past. And the best part is you can start this detective work like today. It just takes 3 simple steps.
First step, just observe. Grab a notebook or your phone and start a little checklist of traits you see in yourself and your close relatives. Step 2, become an interviewer. Go talk to your parents, your grandparents, your aunts and uncles. Ask them about the traits they remember in the family. Trust me, they are the keepers of this history. And then third, draw it out. Just sketch out a simple family tree and start marking down all the traits you've discovered. You are going to be amazed at the patterns that start to pop up.
Because in the end, all those invisible gifts we talked about, those strong genes and those shy genes, they're all part of a much bigger story. A story that's literally written in your DNA. So the question I really want to leave you with is this: what story do your genes tell?